Hello everyone. In last session, you all have gone through the exception and static, right? Again, some conditional statement if else, if else if. So today we'll continue from there. Today I'm going to continue the exception, and if time permits, about the switch conditional statement I will explain, right? So let's start. Let me share my screen. Yes, so my screen is visible to you all. So runtime exception, best practice, always try to handle it through conditional statement or some other way of coding rather catching by exception. Right? Remember this. So let's go to the main class. I was explaining about yesterday about that is in A class. This thing, right? I try and finally. So today I will tell you about user defined exception. What is user defined exception, right? So see, here we have checked compile time exception and runtime exception. You can define your own user type exception that can be compile time, that can also be runtime exception. So what is the benefit having benefit of having a user defined exception? The benefit of having a user defined exception is, you can customize the exception and you can use it for your specific purpose, right? Let's say for a saving account, while depositing money, while withdrawing money, while you know uh, transferring money from one account to other account. When you open your saving account and you will perform some transaction, if something goes wrong, let's say it's not able to connect database or request timeout to the database because of some network issue. If something goes wrong, what will happen? You cannot show that message directly to the user. You have to catch that request timeout exception, right? And you have to throw your own exception so that the front end will understand what kind of exception it is, and based on that it will display the message, right? If it is a user defined exception, if it is something like, let's say for this request timeout exception, I will put a message saying server is down, try after some time, right? Or maybe server is not responsive, after some time, or network is busy, try after some time. This message can be displayed by catching this request amount exception and throwing some user defined exception, maybe transaction exception, maybe some other exception, right? So let's see how we can create user defined exception. See, I already have a user defined exception here. Sometime back I was telling uh, one of my friends daughter and his friend, her friend, they came to learn. So I was explaining them, here everything is there in this is exception and error. See, exception hacking, exception man age a different exception. I've explained it here, but what I will do, I will write it again, and here I will write it again for you all and I will explain it, right? I will do same inside the same constructor package, right? So let refresh this package. Okay, I will create one more package. That will be easy for you, for me also. So it will come under the exception, right? So let me type your package. form dot example dot exception, right? And finish it. So here I will create one class. This is a user defined exception, right? So let's say that user defined exception I will write user transaction. Okay, fine. No, no, let's not use anything. A simple user defined exception, right? Whenever you are creating your own for your project or for maybe in your company, you can define according to you can give the name accordingly. I will just keep user defined exception. Okay, so see this is the user defined exception. This exception I can create, but using runtime or compile time class. So here what you have to extend runtime exception, right? So now it became an user defined exception class. The way you want you can define here. The way you want you can have your message here, right? So before going to this user defined exception, I will show you see how this runtime exception class is defined by Java. You know how Java has defined this class. So that the same way you have to follow to write your own user defined class. See, this is runtime exception, it is extending exception class. So if you extend exception class, your class will be exception class. But if you extend runtime exception, your class will be runtime exception class. If you extend exception or some other exception, then it can be a compile time class. So see, inside the exception class, you have only constructors, right? You have only one public default constructor. The other one is with string message constructor. The other one is with message and throwable class. The other one is runtime exception with only throwable, no message. The other one is message, throwable, enable suppression, the writable stack trace. That e dot print stack trace, that is writable stack trace. You want to suppress the exception, then you can use this true or false. So see, all these constructors are inherited from the superclass. So who is the superclass? Superclass is the exception class. So if you go to this for exception class, which is written by Java, not me, I'm not written this. Java is written it is. See, this is written Java. Java exception class is extends throwable class, right? Java exception class extends throwable class. What I will do, let me open that image, right? Class hierarchy. Yesterday's image, let me open it and show you how it is. Let me share it. No, it might not be visible to you. Hmm. Okay. So this is visible, right? To you all. This is that exception what we are seeing. Say runtime exception is here on the left side. From runtime exception, superclass is exception, then superclass is throwable. Now if I go to Eclipse, we see the same screen. You know, whatever here, runtime exception, exception, then throwable, then object. So if you go to Eclipse, here it is also same, right? Now exception class is extending throwable. If you see runtime, runtime exception extends exception, exception class extends throwable. Now you see exception, then super, right? Exception string message, super message. Then exception string message, throwable cause, message cause. So these are the constructor defined and they're calling the super constructor. Let's go to the throwable class. In throwable class, what is happening? These are the parameters. It is calling super constructor, that is throwable constructor, right? So in throwable class, let's first go to the constructor. What is they have in this constructor? See, this is default constructor, right? Public throwable constructor, and it is calling a method field in stack trace. Let's go to this field in stack trace. It is inside the throwable class. What are they writing? Stack trace not equal to null, back trace not equal to null, full stack trace 0, stack trace and the sign. You can go to this fill stack trace method. This is a private method and dummy. Netting. This is a netting method they have written that is catching the exception from the operating system and throwing it. Right? It will be used by JVM. So this is how you learn a programming language in depth. If you know in depth how a programming language actually written and how it works, you will be able to do. You will be able to write it. See, e dot print stack trace. This is going to print the text trace on the console or on whatever it is displaying, right? So these are the methods like that. So similarly, the user defined class exception class will have constructor. You know, so let me define the constructor here. Generate constructor. I will go and generate it. I will go and generate the constructor here. I will go and generate the more extreme, more constructors. One more constructor I will generate. Let me generate one more constructor. The all the constructor will put it here. I will tell you what is actually it is, right? One more constructor. See, all the constructor I brought it from the superclass. So let's say in this case, I want to, I want to put my message rather trying to put someone else message, right? Whatever the message is coming from here, I don't want to put that message. I want to put my message, or I want to perform some of my exceptions, right? My way of writing it or my way of doing it, right? So see, I copied all this. I had to follow the to follow the the protocol or to follow the rules of uh, writing an exception class, which is defined by your Java programming language, right? So this is what I have defined. User defined exception, string message, message, right? This is what I have defined. And here, see, this message will come from the constructor. What to when we are in this time, when we are trying to create an object of this particular user defined class, we'll put the message here. Let's say other than that, what I want to do, I want to add something here, like some functionality or something, you can always add it here. Along with this message, I want to add user defined. Let's say this message. User defined message. Give me a second. Okay. So this is how it is, right? So I'm passing this message user defined exception and this message. So let's go to now. Let's create a class in our uh, package, another class which will be using this user defined exception, right? So before that, I will tell about throw and throws. Something I've written use of exception, right? This class name, and I've created this class here. What I will do here, I will create a method public void public void or public int return status. Okay. It will take some parameter string id int update status. We'll take this parameter, it will return some variable. Okay. Now let's say it will call server. Then it did update status. While updating status, let's say exception happened. Exception happened, right? Here there is no exception, but still then what I will do, I'll put an exception block here, right? Now what I will do, here itself, I'll throw a exception, right? I'm throwing this exception here. So now who is going to catch this exception? See, I have written throw exception, right? Who is going to catch this exception? Or what happens when we do a throw exception without anything? So let's see that here I create one main class inside this exception. Main class, right? In this main class main method, I will create use of exception class equal to new dot return status is the method, right? I'll pass string something. But yeah, something I'll pass. This value doesn't has any meaning, so don't think about that. I'm saying status one or something, right? Update status as one, Satya update status as one or something I'm saying, and I'm calling this class. So what happens? Let's see. Now run this method. What will happen? You see, exception happened, right? And what I'm doing here, If I go to that the use of exception class, what I'm doing? See, throw E. That's all I'm doing, right? Throw E. I'm throwing an exception from here. Exception happened, then it went here. Some people are there, they will, listen to the video and they won't understand. They think what what it is, what that they will think that way. What I'm trying to tell you, if you really want to have some confusion, you just ask me, right? See, I have executed it. I went to use of exception. I in catch exception. I have written this. This exception happened, and it is not happening anything, right? It is not printing the statement. It is not going inside. So because all these are a system dot out dot println, and no exception is happening there, right? That is the reason I told. Hold on, just watch it. Int x equal to 0, y equal to, let's say, 100, z equal to 0, right? Now, what I will do here, I will just create a runtime exception, which we know that it will definitely throw divide by 0. We will do that, right? So now the exception will happen. Let's see what is happening now. Let's go to the main class and run it. See, lang.arithmetic expression divided by 0. So I created intentionally to show you how it works. Inside exception, call server, update status, inside exception, and then this 0, right? So let's go to the same again. I will put exception happened little above, yeah, so that that message also will come. Now what I will do, I will stop this throw. Insert exception, but no message you found, right? What happened? Where this message is gone? It is not throwing any message. Why? It is showing inside exception and stopped. See what I did. This is not the right way to implement. I have written a exception. I have written try and I have written catch. I am not throwing anything. I'm just writing SOP system.out.println inside exception. And the exception got suppressed there. It is not throwing any exception there, it is suppressed. That is not the right way, because you suppress the exception, your application will go silently, work silently. You will not get the needed output, or the needed functionality will not be executed properly. So you should not suppress your exception, rather you should throw or use your exception to handle the situation, right? So what I will do, I am writing throw here. If I am writing throw here, what it is doing? When I am uncommented, that throw exception, what happened? See, throwing the exception, right? Now this class is not handling any exception, right? This is only calling that. Now what happens if I put here a try catch? Now what will happen is here, the exception will get suppressed here. See, inside exception and the exception got suppressed here. Then class, right? Exception in main class, inside exception, right? So this happened. So we suppressed it here, right? Let me comment out. This is not what I want to show you. So let me comment out. Right. Now let's go to the use of exception class. I cached it, the exception, and I am throwing it. Now what I will do, I want the class who is calling this method, he or she should handle the exception during compile time, not during runtime. So what I will do, I will write here throws exception, right? If I write it throws exception, this method will throw exception, which is again compile time exception. Let's go to main method. You come to main method, you see this will say unhandled exception type exception. That means you have to handle it. So I have to uncomment this. So you have to handle this exception in main class, not in the class where it is happening, because what I am doing, I am throwing it throws. So that is the advantage of throws and throw. Let's say an exception happened in the calling class, database calling class, or some other calling class, and you don't want to handle that exception at that particular moment of time, but you want to handle this exception from the parent calling, or who is calling from from very beginning of the calling of the method, right? So you go and do it in that way. You handle it in that way, right? From the very beginning of the method. So this is how we handle it from the very beginning of the method. What we do, we catch that exception, then we throw that exception, and that exception, again, that method throws it to the caller, and again, caller throws it to the caller till the end, and then the end calling class or the method will have to handle this exception. That is how the exception throw and throws. So coming to use of exception, here we did have to handle it, right? Let's run it. What you are seeing, right? You are seeing the output, no, nothing, exception in main class, same. Now we will do just e dot print status, right? We'll print that exception here inside the main class. See exception in main class, and we are able to print it. Now what will happen? Now we will try to do using it our user defined exception. So I will remove this exception here, right? I will remove this exception. Extra throws exception, I'll remove it from here. I will write it user defined. I'm writing it user defined exception. Now it is throwing the user defined exception. Let me run it. See, it is happening, right? Use of exception, user defined exception, right? Divide by 0. It is showing from that. What happened here? I have just written throw user defined exception, right? That I will do. I have written throws, and I will also do the same thing here. I will throw, I will catch a exception, and I will throw user defined exception, right? I will catch here exception, and then I will throw user defined exception e dot get message. E dot get message will give the message of that exception. I will display it here also, so that before throwing you will be able to understand what actually this method does. E dot get message. So here see I am running it. Right? You see inside exception divide by 0. This is that e message. E dot get message. Right? That is e dot get message. Here see ideally it was showing arithmetic exception. Now it is showing user defined exception divide by 0. It is not showing arithmetic exception. Right? Now in use of exception, rather passing e dot get message is giving me, you know, the real output or real exception message. Now I will add it to my thing. What I will add here? X, we're dividing y by x. X value is 0. X value is 0. divide by 0, divide by 0, error, exception. This is what we are trying to print it. Right? This is the message which we want to print. We'll go to main class and we'll run it. So see, x value is 0, divided by 0, exception. Right? You got that message what I passed through that call server, update status, everything is coming as usual. But the message which I have written, it is trying to print that message. Right? And one more thing, what I will do, I will just comment out this try to show you something interesting. Right? And this one also. I'll close, I comment out all this. See, even though I am throwing exception from this class, right? Use of exception method is a public, it is public return status method. This method throws user defined exception, but main class is not asking me to add try catch. The reason behind that user defined exception is a runtime exception. If you throws, if your method is throwing any runtime exception, you need not require to catch it or handle it. That is the concept from the very beginning I'm explaining. Runtime exception need not require to be catch. You need to handle it, right? So if you want, if you are making this use of exception class, this use of exception class, sorry, not user defined exception class. If you are making it, let's say something else, that is early exception or IO exception or something, right? Early exception you are trying to make it. Now you go to main method. See, now it is same. I have not done any changes. I have not done any changes. I have not done any changes here in user defined exception. In throws close. In throws close, it is the same user defined exception. But if I go to main method, what happens? Unhandled exception type user defined exception. That means I have to handle it. So always remember, wherever it is compile time exception, you need to handle it. Wherever it is runtime exception, you need to handle it. Sorry, wherever it is compile time exception, you need to handle it using catch block. Wherever there is runtime exception, you may not. It is not required to handle it by catch block. Try catch. You can handle it. You can handle it using some conditional statement. You can handle it writing different set or piece of code which is allowing you to handle that runtime exception. Right? So let me run it. Okay. User defined expression x value is 0 and x is, see, in this session no one is attending this session today, or from last all the videos which I uploaded, no one is attending all these sessions. Only I am talking and I am sharing my knowledge to you all those who are listening it. Listen it, learn Java. You will find many YouTube videos, but they might not have explained in this way. So go through my videos thoroughly, learn it. If you have any concern, if you have any questions, you can always ask me. Comment, ask me on the YouTube comment section, or send it to my mail ID. You have my mail ID, or you can always message me on LinkedIn also. And I'm not a trainer. I am an engineering leader. Currently, I do not have job. Few of my friends, they are kids, high school kids or maybe intermediate school, or maybe some known students. Those are in engineering or general BCA, MCA. They asked me, if you can you share your knowledge to us on Java. We are learning Java, Python, and so many languages. I told okay, fine. So I explained one person. Then it came to my mind. Okay, let me create a video and upload it to YouTube. It's not only for their sake, it is also for me. If I am uploading this video and explaining to you, I am also refreshing my mind. It's been long time when I was doing coding, so now I am also refreshing my mind while explaining you all, right? So this is the thing. When you share the knowledge, you also keep refreshing your mind. I do suggest you all, those who are learning from these videos, or those who are students, you also share knowledge, what you know very well. Share your knowledge, or what you know well. Share your knowledge. Your knowledge will get refreshed, and you will earn more uh, things, or you will learn more things out of it while explaining, right? So this is how user defined exception. This is how user defined exception. So today, what is the date? Today is April 1st, right? Today is April 1st. Yeah, April 1st, 2025. So today is April 1st, 2025. It's been long time for me. I started my career in Java in 2006 and it is 2025. Currently, I don't have job. I'm looking for a job for an opportunity. Looking for an opportunity in software industry as an engineering leader. You can say senior engineering manager position. Similar to that, I'm looking for an opportunity or higher. Anyway, I hope I will get an opportunity very soon. So this is what I want to explain you all, right? This is how it works, and this is how your user-defined exception. You can define your user-defined exception, both compile time exception and runtime exception. You can have both the exception compile time and runtime. This is yep, exception. If am I missing something? Let me recall if I'm missing something. Am I missing something? Am I missing something? Nothing. If I have missed something, I will add it in my next video or next session video. Uh, So what actually I'm doing here, I am uploading video. I'll upload video for the Java certification programmer. Whatever the content you have in the certified Java programmer, all that content I will upload. You can learn it, and you will be very good at Java programming. Right. So let's go ahead. Right. So this is what your user-defined exception. So apart from user-defined exception or apart from this uh, exception, I thought of telling a switch case or switch case condition in the beginning, right? Conditional statement. So see how switch case works here. Is so let's go to the use of exception, right? Class. In this method only we will implement switch. Right? We'll write switch and we'll pass this update status to you. Based on update status, we'll perform something. Right? So it will start like this. Then case one. Right? Case one break. Case two break. Case three similarly, you can keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. You can add case based on your requirement today. So that is the benefit if you go with switch case and your conditional statement is going to check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So today you have case 3, 1, 2, 3, you added 3. Tomorrow you need one more case to be added. You can just go write case 4 and then you can put your business logic here, you know, case 4 and then you can put break here, right? Then again you have one more case, let's say added after a few months. You can go and write case 5. You can put your business logic here for case 5 and then you can have a break. That means the business logic got over, right? For this, you can also, if you don't know what, there can be a generic request. There you can have something default. And in default, you write your default. then put break here. Done. Right? So this is what your switch case statements look, and at the here end of switch. Is this switch start, right? So now what I'm passing, when I'm going to main method, I'm calling return status, I'm passing 1. So it should print the case option 1, right? Okay, before that the exception is happening and we're throwing. See, before that this exception is happening and it goes to the catch block and we are throwing. So the switch case statement, the line below this exception where it is happening, it is not getting executed. That's what it is saying. Exception has happened inside exception by a 0, exception in main class. So let's comment it. No exception now, only to see the output. See what happened. Exception happened. Fine, we commented, so there is no exception. Switch start, switch started, switch block, then case 1 because we have passed 1, end of switch, main class. So to make it more clarity, let us comment this command exception happened, right? Yes. Now let's run it again. See, switch start, case 1, and now let's say I want to update case, I want to update 2, case 2. If I update 3 here, it will show case 3. If I update 4, it will update 4, right? Why case 3 and case 4 came together? It should only see case 3. Let's go and check. See, in case 3, I have not given a break statement. In case 3, I have not given a break statement. So what happens? It will execute the next statement. So I have to put a break here so that it will not go to the next statement. Right? So this is intentionally why I left to show you what happens if you don't write break. See, now it didn't go to case 4, right? Now I will put it 4 here. Now 4 will come. Now I will put 5. 5 will come. Now I will put 6. Default. Because we don't have 6 case. We don't have 6 case. So that's why it went to default. Let's say I will add another case here. 6. Okay. So now 6 is there. What will happen? 6 is there. See, it went to 6. Right? So if something I give 100, 100 is not there. What will happen? It will go to default. So see that is how switch case works, right? Switch case only takes number and enumeration. Switch case also takes enumeration as a input parameter here, and it takes number. I think now in the latest parameter it is taking alphabet. That we'll see in coming session. This is how switch case work. If you have any, if you have any, if you have anything about the exception, user defined exception or switch case exception, any uh, switch case conditional statement, Any concerns, any query, you can always ask me. I will be happy to help you all. Right. So coming back to the screen here, this object throwable exception. So we completed object throwable exception, right? And if you go to error, right? If you go to error, what is an error? See, error we cannot handle it, right? Error will happen continuously, right? Let's say your JVM has low memory, and you are running an application of huge memory. That JVM will become out of memory, and it is difficult for us to handle it, right? So handling error is very difficult because it happens at JVM level. Some errors are there which happens at program level that can be handled, but that is again you don't know when an error will happen, right? So that's how I'll show you. For example, you are trying to put you are created a recursive program which is not having any conditional statement. For example, let's say we'll go to this main class, public public void test. What is a recursive program? The program which will call itself, right? Let's say you will put it return, sorry, returning. So return test. This is called a recursive program. And here I have not given any condition, right? I have not given any condition, right? What I will do, I'll call this program. Let's say make it static so that object creation is not required. If I'll call this program inside this, I'll call this program. I will comment all this. Huh? I'll comment everything. Why only that? This I'll comment everything. I will call here est test. Now I'll run it. See, something happened, right? Something happened. Let's go and see what is that. Java.lang.stack overflow error. See, this is called error. This is called error. So what is recursion? Outright recursive program, I will tell you not in this session, maybe some other session. But this I why I want to tell you today so that you will understand, so that you will understand what, so that you will understand what is an error. That is the reason I have shown it to you. This is how it works, right? This is how it works. Stack overflow error. Where it is? Stack overflow error. We have somewhere. See, Java virtual machine error, stack overflow error. That is how error. We don't know when this error will happen. You cannot handle this error, right? So no need of handling error. Error need to be taken care by the JVM and other operating system resources and your compiler and interpreter resources. We people don't handle any error. Okay. So there are some error which need to be handled. I will explain it in the next session. Today, this is what I want to explain you all. Go through the video, learn it, right? And we will any concern, any questions, any query, you can always comment me. Okay, sorry, you can always comment me on the comment section of this video, or always you can message me, right? Always you can message me on my mail ID or on LinkedIn. So you all have my LinkedIn on that description. Mail ID is also there. Watch, learn, grow. Right? You learn one programming language in and out. All programming language will be easier for you because all of them are same. So let me stop my sharing. So let's meet on next session. Thank you, everyone.